Let's talk just a minute about the MLS and what they like to refer to as the most trusted source of real estate information in the world. That's a mouthful. That's a really big title. Think about that now. The most trusted source of real estate information in the world. And you know, they probably used to be. And I'll date myself with this, but some of you may remember these. A comp book. Oh my gosh. This goes back to the day where the one who held this comp book had all the power. Everybody wanted to come and see you because they knew there was just something in this book that everybody else had missed, and the magic answer was located in this all-powerful comp book. Well, these days the comp book is online. And think about MLS now, though. You know, we just kind of say those three letters and take for granted what power they have. But how does an MLS listing get to be an MLS listing? One agent, one listing. Now, that listing agent may have gotten their license 30 days ago. Or they may be one of those that still doesn't understand the need for these newfangled computers. You know, they may not think technology is good at all. It just, you know, whether it's new agent, experienced agent, you know, there's so many different types of agents. And in my market, for instance, we have over 600 agents, and there's probably about 24 that make a good living doing it. You know, everybody seems to want to get their real estate license and get into this easy game of selling houses. Well, I got bad news for you guys. Anybody that has a real estate license and actually sells real estate knows it's no easy business, and it is hard to make a living. And very few actually do this as a profession and make a living out of it. But you got to remember that MLS is a data source put in by individual agents. There's no regional or national, you know, overseer of this MLS data that checks it for accuracy. You know, sure, somebody might see a problem and call in with an obvious error, but there are so many errors that go in, and it's not just the errors, it's what I call, you know, the Puff the Magic Dragon or whatever, but there are times that it gets exaggerated just a little bit in MLS, and something that has been totally remodeled, well, you know, it's in the eyes of the beholder sometimes, and that may be a slight exaggeration with some agents. And while some slightly exaggerate it, some of them just flat out, their noses grow when they say this information, and the things they put in MLS, there's no easy way to say that, they're just not true, guys. Now, I realize that their job is to sell the house, and they want to put their best foot forward, and I understand that. But the difference between, you know, making up something and putting in what's true, you know, the MLS should be dual purposes, which is a marketing tool and a database. But the new MLS really is more of a marketing tool, and that's the mentality that is entering those sales into the MLS, and that's what we use for comparable sales, and that is a dangerous game sometimes, because if you got bad data going in, you got bad data coming out. So just remember, you know, it's always a good idea to verify the information in MLS, maybe with more than one source. And if you're in this business long enough, you kind of learn which agents do which. And thankfully, there's a lot of really good agents that do this job professionally. But unfortunately, we have to deal with reality. And some of these, they just require extra time. But the MLS is not the data source that it used to be when every agent was adamant about measuring each house and making sure that information was put in accurate. You know, back in 1908, when MLS was started on little index cards, they knew that the information that real estate agents could come up with was better than the information in public records in 1908. So we've come a long way since then. then, but this system has just evolved, through happenstance, not with any real plan or oversight. So just remember what MLS is, and it is a powerful database, but verify, verify, verify the MLS, and it'll keep your job more professional.